Dragons are real. Dinosaurs aren't what you think they are. And first off, dinosaurs aren't dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are just really big lizards, the same ones that live today.
Dinosaurs are lizards in the same way I am related to Genghis Khan. Barely. Welcome to Dinos and Debunking. Today we're starting off with a doozy. Essentially, dinosaurs and lizards are both part of the same umbrella group called diapsids. Diapsids basically had two additional holes in the back of their skull, called temporal fenestra. Towards the end of the Permian, diapsids were starting to split into two main groups. These are the archosaurs, and these are the lepidosaurs. Archosaurs are the group that evolved into crocodiles, dinosaurs, and in extension, birds, while lepidosaurs evolved into our modern lizards and snakes. So yes, they definitely had a common ancestor, but they shared most of their time on this planet as completely separate species.
So for instance, the chameleon might actually be the triceratops.
I'll see you tomorrow. This is Adam's mammoth. Well, theoretically, this is Adam's mammoth, but this is what people believed it looked like when it was found in 1799. Welcome back to Dinos and Debunking, and this is the story of the first ever mummified woolly mammoth. In 1805, Russian botanist Mikhail Adams set out on an expedition to Siberia. He heard rumors about a massive creature found in the ice and decided to retrieve it. What he found left him speechless. In front of him, frozen in the Siberian permafrost, lay what looked to him a lot like an elephant. Only, like with hair and stuff. We had previously found individual mammoth bones, but never something nearly this complete. The idea that mammoths were even a separate species from elephants was a very new one. Previously been believed that these were simply elephant bones that had been swept away by a biblical flood or other natural disasters. Adams sent back the fossil along with over 40 pounds of hair. It was reconstructed in the Kunstkammer in St. Petersburg, where it can be found to this day. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Whenever people think about sauropods, what animal do they think of? Probably animals like Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, or Apatosaurus. Towering beasts like in this scene from Jurassic Park. But nobody ever thinks of Magyarosaurus, the dwarf titanosaur. Welcome back to Dinos and Debunking, and yes, you heard me right, dwarf titanosaur. While titanosaurs were some of the biggest animals to have ever existed on this planet, Magyarosaurus was barely the size of a horse. But there was a good reason for that. Magyarosaurus was found in Romania. What, did Romania just have mini dinosaurs? Yeah, kind of. What's interesting about Romania is that it was actually an island chain during the late Cretaceous where this fossil is dated to. Through a process known as insular dwarfism, certain creatures will gradually shrink to sustain their needs if space is limited. The opposite also applies, which gave us predators like this. So at some point, titanosaurs must have migrated onto the island before getting stuck there. Now, sadly, this did not save them from the meteor. But if you want to, you can save this video and share it with your friends. Look at this giant wombat. Welcome to Dinos and Debunking, let's get right into it. This giant fella is called the Diprotodon. Check out that nose. So yeah, these things are absolutely massive in comparison to regular wombats. Diprotodons would have been staples of the Australian megafauna during the Pleistocene, around 250,000 years ago. During most of this time, they would have shared the island with the Aboriginal people of Australia. Their interaction can be seen in cave paintings such as this one. They would not have been hard to find. They traveled in groups of probably more than 300 animals. Imagine a bison herd, but instead of bisons, they're wombats. They would have been very calm and grazing animals. However, like with everything in nature, their reign had to eventually come to an end. Starting about 80,000 years ago, the Diprotodon, alongside most other animals weighing over 200 pounds, went completely extinct in Australia. Exact reasons for this are unclear, but we have several theories ranging from changes in environment to overhunting by humans. No, there will always be a Diprotodon-sized hole in my heart. But hey, life's life, and I'll see you tomorrow. Welcome back to Dinos and Debunking. Today we're talking about anting. Anting is basically a more extreme version of dust bathing. A lot of birds will dust bathe to clean themselves and get rid of oils from their skin. It's also a very social activity and just lets them hang out a little. Kind of like a spa day for birds. Anting is basically just a more crawly version of that. Ants will help to remove parasites and stimulate feather growth with an acid. Also kind of like a back scratch for them. There is passive anting, what this bird is doing. Also active anting, where the bird will pick up ants and just be like, get in there. So yes, anting is completely normal and safe. See you tomorrow. Why do the biggest animals on the planet always get so much recognition? T-Rex, seen that before. Blue whale. Let's make some space for the small ones. Welcome back to Dinos and Debunking. Some small animals you haven't seen before. The Java mouse deer. Despite these legs looking like absolute twigs, this is a fully grown deer. Only that for him, fully grown is only a couple of inches. This is actually the smallest hoofed animal ever, only matched by a different mouse deer called the Java mouse deer. This is a pygmy falcon. Again, looks like a baby, fully grown. This is a falcon called Tansy, and you can visit her at the Cincinnati Zoo. Barbados thread snake. Doesn't look too small. Let me give you a reference. This is an absolutely adorable creature. Snakes are often called danger noodles, but this is an actual noodle. Sometimes you gotta take a step back and enjoy the small things in life, if you can still see them. See you tomorrow. This is one of the most badass fossil finds of all time. True dinosaur Mortal Kombat. Welcome to Dinos and Debunking. Let me set the scene. 125 million years ago, a Spataposaurus was just minding its own business when all of a sudden it gets jumped by a Rapino mammoth, a mammal the size of a badger, and it starts to really dig into it. Rapino mammoth clenches onto its forelimb, holding its jaws and hind limbs. Tachosaurus completely freezes up in a fear response. They don't notice the ground rumbling beneath them, ash tumbling down from a nearby mountain, and before they know it, it's over. Ants of death forever immortalized in volcanic rock. Creation like this would have been very common in the Carboniferous, but seeing it this well preserved is absolutely stunning. Who do you think would have won? I'll see you tomorrow. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, that is not a dodo. That's a parakeet chick named Dodo. What a baby dodo might have looked like. Not sure though. It's actually a baby Nicobar pigeon, the dodo's closest living relative. Pigeon chicks in general look a lot like dodos. But even without comparison, there are two factors that rule this out as a dodo. Size and beak structure. Dodos were very large birds and laid big eggs. And with big eggs come big chicks. The other problem is the beak. Way too short and spiky. Looks a lot more like, well, a parakeet. Have you ever looked at a whale shark and been like, oh, I wish these were bigger? Well, say hello to Lichthesis, the biggest fish who ever lived. Welcome back to Dinos and Debunking. For about 20 million years, Lichthesis would have been a gentle giant of the Jurassic Oceans. Occupied a role similar to modern basking shark, filter feeding and all that, and probably couldn't swallow anything bigger than an apple. And thank God, because this is terrifying. Although that's not much more than a consolation prize, because they were by far not the freakiest animals around. However, there's still a lot we don't know about these fish. Their skeletons had a little tendency not to consist of bones, but cartilage. Which, if you ask me, is very inconsiderate. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow. In a lot of ways, paleontologists with their fossils are like parents with their kids. They birth them, care for them, prepare them, and put them on display for validation from others. But this child was so despised by its parents that its legal name just had to reflect that. Meet Irritator, the annoying and probably illegal Spinosaurus. We'll get there. Welcome to Dinos and Debunking. In the 1990s, the Museum of Stuttgart, Germany acquired a Spinosaurus skull of arguable legality. The skull had been smuggled out of Brazil by fossil poachers. It ended up being resold several times before ending up in Stuttgart. At some point in the chain, the fossil had been modified with plaster to drive up the price. You can see the extended lower and upper jaws. The scientists had to painstakingly remove all the plaster to reveal the actual fossil. At some point, they must have been like, yeah, fuck this guy. But it did teach us some cool things about Spinosaurus. The way they were able to spread out their lower jaws as they opened their mouth. It's also a stolen fossil from Brazil, so let me know what you think. See ya. I have a question for anybody who's played Half-Life. What actually is an antlion? I didn't know, so I looked it up, and it's not really what I expected. Welcome back to Dinos and Debunking. Today, antlions. Looking for this thing in real life, I didn't expect to stumble upon these two. And yes, these are the same animal. This is the larval stage, and this is a fully grown one. Why are these so different? Essentially, adaptation and metamorphosis. As larvae, antlions will start to dig little holes in the sand. They use these to catch their prey, suck it dry, and then just toss it out again. Look at him fly. Yeah, this Halleck Pit-esque hunting strategy is pretty effective and energy efficient. Once they've eaten enough, they quickly respec, grow wings, and look for mates. So why the hell is the Half-Life version so different? Please tell me. Oh my god, some rocks that look vaguely like a T-Rex. I have to check that out. They even left coordinates. Yeah, there it is. You just measure it so I can report it to the museum. Holy shit, guys, I just found a giant T-Rex. So yeah, just because something looks like something, it doesn't mean it is that, and also don't believe everything you see on the internet. You may keep scrolling now. Let me show you 3 apex predators from Earth history you've never heard of. We'll start off easy and then get much more obscure. 500 million years ago, Anomalocaris was the biggest thing around. This was probably the first apex predator ever. It was using these arms to grab onto the prey and feed it into its weird little bone mouth. He's also my precious little baby, so I don't want any mean comments. Second, Eurycthrosukis. This was an absolute unit. If this looks a lot like a T-Rex skull, that's because this is one of its earliest ancestors. If this head is so impressive, let's see the It's okay, buddy. We've all been there. And number 3, we've got Rhizotus. Not enough people talk about this guy. He's so cool. Giant insects were roaming the land during the Carboniferous. Rhizotus was tearing shit up in the sea. Rhizotus is the largest freshwater fish we have ever seen and was more than 20% bigger than a great white. It might have even been ambush hunting like modern crocodiles. I hate this. Did you know any? Let me know. Stop what you're doing and look at my creature. This is the giraffe weevil. If you're asking why the long face, here it is. Sword fighting. In order to find a proper mate, these guys will beat the shit out of each other. Just like actual giraffes. If a giraffe weevil mates, they'll put the egg in one of these leaf tubes and drop it to the ground. They're also just ridiculously cute when they try to fly. This guy's definitely my favorite thing bent at a 90-degree angle right after cranes and your mom.
World famous limestone finger that was found in Glen Rose, Texas in Cretaceous limestone.
Wait, Glen Rose, Texas and Heck Fraud Science. Oh yeah, it's right by that sham creationist evidence museum. What a weird coincidence. Let's be honest, this looks a lot more like one of those sausage fingers my mom would make for Halloween. It's also weird that back in the day people apparently didn't have finger joints. Now I don't think I need to tell you that this is just some rock. There have been actually many instances of people misidentifying fossils as just some rock. In the day, people used to find megalodon teeth and sell them as tongue stones to heal or just as decoration. But yeah, this is just some rock. Pareidolia, look it up. It's a conspiracy theorist's kryptonite. Every now and then I see videos of honey badgers basically fighting anything they can get their hands on. That just made me wonder, why are these guys so ballsy? Honestly, because they can. While honey badgers don't often go out of their way to seek fights, they're not gonna back down from one. These guys have been genetically engineered to be the single most annoying animal to fight against. And this starts way before you get close to them. Like that weird guy on the subway, honey badgers constantly emit a foul-smelling odor that will make animals think twice if they really want to be near that right now. If another creature decides to attack, or to defend anything it's caught, it's gonna have to contend with one of the dirtiest fighters in the animal kingdom. Because their skin is so thick, they are basically indestructible for an animal their size. Their skin is really flexible and lets them basically just bite back. They're highly resistant to venom and can just sleep it off. Have I mentioned they don't give a fuck yet? This evolutionary strategy of being a little shit has paid off really well for them because they are basically untouchable in the animal kingdom. They are pretty gnarly, but I think they're quite cute. Let me weave you a tale of a woman, her T-Rex, and a whole bunch of red tape. This is Sue, the dinosaur with the most interesting custody case. August 1990, Susan Hendricks was part of an expedition to the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation in South Dakota. While out on a stroll due to a flat tire, Susan discovered a bone sticking out the side of a cliff. She took it back to Peter Larson, leader of the expedition and president of the Black Hill Institute for Geologic Research. And he was just like, that's a fucking T-Rex. Immediately ordered an excavation on the site. In the following weeks, paleontologists would unearth the most complete Tyrannosaurus fossil we have ever found. She's over 90% complete and drop dead gorgeous. Okay, where's the legal drama? See, Larson had paid $5,000 to the owner of the land, Maurice Williams. After excavation, Williams claimed the money was just for the right to excavate the fossil, not the fossil itself. A lengthy court battle broke out between Williams, Larson, and the US government who held the land in trust. At one point, the institute was raided by the FBI. Ultimately, Larson lost and Williams regained ownership. Sue was put to auction and is now in Chicago alongside her life-size replica. I can't be the only one who's absolutely afraid of Komodo dragons, right? At least I'm not an Aboriginal Australian 60,000 years ago having to contend with this. Megalania. In comparison to Megalania, Komodo dragons are snack size. We don't have good fossil evidence to go off of, but they were probably somewhere between 9 and 12 feet long. That's a fucking ping pong table. And if Komodo dragons are hunting deer, what's this guy gonna eat? Megalania was probably snacking on kangaroos and these cow-sized wombats named Diprotodon. And also probably humans. If one of these things has caught up to you, you can send a prayer to your god telling him you'll be right over. Because he would then rip out your flesh, inject you with poison, and watch you bleed out. So if you are not a healthy adult, you would not be outrunning this guy.
Doesn't this look like the back of some giant reptile?
Yeah, dude, totally. No need to bring out the big guns, I got this. I actually found these pictures on Google image search. But just these pictures. Nothing else, no video. Just AI repost after repost. What is this even supposed to be? Probably like a snake? Then why are the ribs all so thick and clumped together? This is Titanoboa, the actual biggest snake that ever lived, and look at the spacing between the ribs. Damn, I want to have what he's having. Can anybody tell me what this fossil is? A fish? Nope. A bird? What? No. A human. Esteemed 18th century naturalist John Jacob Schweitzer. Of course. Heh. This is what I imagine went down in 1726 when Schweitzer first described his fossil Homo deluvitestus. Man, witness of the deluge. Deluge? Schweitzer believed he had found was a child that had been struck down by the deluge, the biblical flood. I think I need to tell you that this is not a child. Then what is this? The biblical flood was a very real thing, and something like paleontology didn't really even exist back then. Nobody really wanted to challenge him on that. Until 1765, when geologic heavyweight George Cuvier threw his hat into the ring and was just like, that's a salamander, what do you mean? Oh. Today, he's known as Andreas Schweitzeri, a sizable salamander and all-around good lad. Fuck is that? If you need any other proof that nature was definitely smoking something while creating Triassic animals, this is Erythmohippus. This Triassic Pokemon is essentially a fusion between a platypus and a stegosaurus, at a time when neither of those existed. Erythmohippus was not fully aquatic, but it spent most of its time under the sea looking for crustaceans and other invertebrates. Because of this platypus-esque build, Erythmohippus probably had access to electroreception. It's a pretty cool tech that lets platypus sense its prey's movement by electrical currents generated by their muscles. Receptors in the beak are able to pick up these weak electrical signals and get them right to their snacks. Now just put a fedora on it and voila. Haha, yes, it's AI, let's move on. Tell you why interacting with content like this in any form is a bad idea. Please watch this video, share it with anybody who should. On the surface, these kinds of videos don't harm anybody. You get a good chuckle, you write a comment, you move on. As if you actually belong to the part of the population that can even recognize AI in the first place, which becomes increasingly less likely with age. So why is this dangerous? The video itself isn't. Reposts are. Suddenly, the AI tag is removed and the title says something like, "Science is trying to hide this. Government is lying to you." This type of content may not even be targeted towards you, but you're helping spread misinformation to millions of people who might not know better. On social media, your attention is currency. Be aware of how you spend it. People are not going to change their worldviews based on one video, but 10, 50, 100. TikTok has anything, it's your attention and videos. So please stay aware of what you consume and don't interact. Don't comment, don't like, just scroll by. Today, let me show you an imposter. In the 1800s, we found some skulls of what we believed to be extinct orcas, until we found one and they looked like this. This is the false killer whale. Name's giving off strong I can't believe it's not butter vibes. Where dolphins are often a set part of an orca's diet, false killer whales will be more like Bruce. They will often form pods together and even have children with them. These guys are called wallfins and they're extremely rare, similar to ligers or zebroids. False killer whales are extremely social creatures. They very often hunt together and share their catch with the group. Sadly, this social behavior can also be their downfall, as they've been observed beaching in groups of 20 to 50 individuals. It's absolutely sad, but it shows just how intelligent they are. But, intentional or not, the false killer whale is my favorite imposter of the animal kingdom. Welcome back to the last day of Dinos and Debunking. For this finale, I want to take you back to where it all started, into a windswept little coastal village by the name of Lyme Regis. During the early 1800s, visitors to this little village could spot a rather curious figure along the shoreline. A woman clad in Victorian walking dress hacking away at the rocks with hammer and chisel for hours on end. This was Mary Ann. Since her family had always struggled financially, Mary supplemented their income by selling curiosities she found at the beach to tourists. These included curled rocks, lovingly known as snake stones, or these elongated rocks known as devil's fingers. In 1811, Mary would make a discovery that would change science forever. While looking for fossils with her brother, she stumbled upon a 4-foot-long skull, unlike any she had ever seen before. Mary's crocodile, later known as ichthyosaur, along with her arguably even more famous fossil finds, became a cornerstone in a geologic, scientific, and religious revolution. Thank you for watching and happy holidays. Hi there! If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun making this. I hope you had a lot of fun watching this. I'm really excited for what's to come within the next year and everything. I hope everything is going well for you. I'm very happy. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, I guess. Alright, thank you. Have a good one. See ya.